was the one that was the victim.
When you call yourself a victim, the only victim in this case
is the little girl.
A decade-long family tragedy unfolds because a young mother can't cope.
A child is not a piece of meat.
I had no Christmas visitations with her, no holidays, nothing. There was a lot of trauma and turmoil over this whole thing.
Hey, you caused a lot of trauma.
This woman wanted her aunt to pay her child support, blamed everybody but herself, and somehow still believed she was the victim. But the judge wasn't having it. Let's get into this one.
8-year-old Marnie Castillo is suing her aunt, 43-year-old Vicki Hopkins. Marnie claims that Vicki agreed to adopt her daughter 9 years ago, but the adoption never actually took place. Now the state is coming after Marnie for back child support, and she wants her aunt to pay.
Order, all rise. Quiet in the courtroom, all rise. Your Honor, it's case number 217 on the calendar in the matter of Castillo versus Hopkins. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Have a seat, sir.
Reading these papers suggests to me that this was a terrible tragedy in your family, but most especially for an innocent child who was now 10?
9.
9. Ms. Castillo, you present to me a very unique cause of action, one that I have not seen before in my 25 years. You are suing the defendant for what appears to be a failed adoption of your child.
Yes.
You were a teenager, you had a child out of wedlock.
That's true.
And the defendant is your aunt.
That's true.
Briefly, she and her husband agreed to take custody of this child. She says because the child wasn't being cared for properly as an infant. Is that right?
That's right. That's not true.
Well, she'll tell me about that. There came a point when you said that you would adopt, or to at least take custody of this child and perhaps adopt her when she was an infant.
Right.
How old?
She was 14 months old.
And for that first 14 months, she had lived with her mother?
Off and on, she lived with Marnie. She visited with me from the time she was 2 weeks old, off and on.
Visited you, not lived with you.
Ms. Castillo, I would suggest that you not be hostile.
I'm sorry.
In any event, the child's now 9 years old. And what this is all about is, for one reason or another, which I find very interesting in here, this adoption did not take place. You did not adopt this child with your husband. And the child at some point was being supported by the taxpayers.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
And the state has come against you
Yes, that's true.
for back child support.
Yes.
So you are suing your aunt because she didn't adopt your daughter, and therefore you're stuck paying the child support. That's what this case is about.
That's basically, yes, what it's about.
Your Honor, can I say something? We were going to adopt this little girl because the father was named unknown in the whole beginning of everything.
I have all the paperwork here.
Ms. Castillo,
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Don't interrupt.
Okay.
Up until these final papers were sent to us, everything was going according to plan.
How old was the child at that point?
She was 14 months old. We got a letter and some papers sent to us from Don Smith, which was handling the adoption, showing that Fillmore Hostler was Marley's father that Marnie had named. He was Native American. We were told in the beginning it was a good thing this little girl's father wasn't Native American. It would have to be okayed by the tribe.
Okay, let me go back so that we all... Put your hand down. Okay. So that we all understand each other. Can I see those papers, please? When a child is the child, at least in a certain amount of blood lineage of an American Indian, under the U.S. Code, all the states have agreed that whatever dealings involve that child by way of custody or adoption, the tribe, the native tribe, has first crack at trying those cases or at dealing with the adoption because they feel as if the tribe wants to hold on to whatever children that they have rather than allow the state to be involved. So that is the law. You are quite correct. Now, did you name someone at any point, Ms. Castillo, as the father of this child?
Not at the birth, but during the rundown on the adoption with Don Smith, yes, I did name the real father.
Okay.
And
now, the real father that you named was a person who was an American Indian.
He was half, and I also have papers stating that it says Caucasian with his name on it, with their signatures on it.
If he is half American Indian, then the tribe has the right to deal with the adoption. If you had wanted them to adopt this child with ease and let it go through, why at the time that they filed the papers did you name, when you first said, I don't know who the father is, why did you then name somebody who was an American Indian as the father?
He was her father, and at the time, I was telling the honest truth. I wanted the best for my little girl.
Just a second.
I did want the best for her.
Miss Castillo, then if he was the father, that means that you lied at the beginning when you said you didn't know who the father was.
I never had told that I didn't know who the father was. I just didn't sign the birth certificate with any father's name on it. I never told them that I didn't know who the father was. Personally, I didn't tell anybody who the father was. It was no one's business. I didn't know what I was doing as an 18-year-old giving birth to a little girl. I didn't know that that's right.
Then somebody else was named as the father.
She named that person on the papers. It asks in the DA's papers who you have slept with in the last 5 months. The person she's pushing for the child support was named because I was dating him in June.
Just a second. Just a second. She can't name somebody else as the father.
She named them because he was on the DA's papers stating that I slept with him in June. So since she considered that as a person to go for the back child support, she pushed it.
Just a minute. She's not suing you for back child support,
No,
Ms.
but
Castillo. Hey! She's not suing you for child support. The state is suing you for the money that the taxpayers paid out for your daughter.
I understand that, but she also told my mother on a phone conversation, why should Maureen have to pay for it and let the father pay for it? And Evan Duke looks like her father, and she looks like Linda Evans, the mother.
Why don't you take a blood test?
We have taken a blood test. It hasn't came back yet.
Oh, baloney.
It has not. The blood tests were just barely taken 3 weeks ago.
At age 9?
At age 9 years old. This only has been coming about just this year.
If the person that you say she named as the father...
He's not.
Is not.
Excuse me, ma'am. He's not the father, though.
Then the blood test will establish that.
That is very true.
Then you will totally be responsible for the child support.
Totally be responsible for a breach of contract agreement?
There is no... Madam, let me explain something to you. A child is not a piece of meat.
I didn't think it was a piece
No,
of
a
meat.
child is not a piece of meat.
Judge Judy continues.
Something about this story is already not adding up for me. If she was so certain about who the father was, why are we doing a DNA test 9 years later? And now she wants her aunt to pay the back child support because the aunt supposedly said she would adopt the child? Ma'am, a promise to adopt is not the same thing as actually adopting a child. I'm already confused, so let's see what else happened, because clearly there's a lot more to this story.
Usual custody case. Vicki Hopkins is being sued by her niece, Marnie Castillo, after caring for her daughter for many years. Marnie says she thought her aunt adopted her daughter 9 years ago and was shocked to find out that the adoption never went through. Now the state wants Marnie to pay back child support, but Marnie feels her aunt should pay.
I understand that this child at some point went back to you.
Yes.
Is that just... Yes. When did the child come back to you?
When my aunt had had surgery and she got on all kinds of medication, my uncle thought it was a better idea for her to come back to the mother. Since I had been previously on drugs and on alcohol, I do admit to that, yes. But it took me a long journey to get where I am today. And the child was in the best interest with them. But they always led me to believe she was adopted to them, and I was never an absent parent. That's why I'm angry about the child support. I never had proper visitations. I had no clue she wasn't adopted until 1994 on Easter, when my aunt and I got into a fight during Easter. She left me at our family function. I had to find my own ride home that time. We had got back. The DA had sent me papers saying I owed this back child support. But the fact of what I'm here to argue is they never let me have anything to do with her. And if I was an absent parent, I should have had paternal rights. I should have been notified that they had never adopted her. And nothing. I was never adopted.
Are you saying to me, Miss Castillo, that your aunt and uncle prevented you from seeing
Yes,
this little...
they did, ma'am. They did.
You're not letting me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Don't cut me off.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are you saying that your aunt and uncle didn't let you see your daughter?
Yes, I'm telling you that.
Is that true?
No, that's not
That
true.
is true, and you know it.
In the very
And you moved
beginning,
away
when
from her.
Marley
You
first
moved
came
away.
to us...
I
You're
could never
irritating
see
me.
her.
If you irritate me again,
sorry.
I'm going to
I
dismiss your case.
understand. Okay.
Good.
In the beginning, when Marley first came to stay with us, for her to bond with my husband, my daughter, and myself, she was going through an emotional time up in the night crying, couldn't figure out where her mother was at. I asked Marnie not to come to visit for at least the first 6 months
3 years.
so she could bond with us.
3 years.
I told you.
I'm
I
sorry.
told you one more time, and you're out of here. You got it?
Yeah.
One more time. Be careful, because I mean it. Go ahead.
This happened. After the first 6 months, Marnie was allowed to visit with Marley. I never heard from Marnie very much. Marnie would call, and I would talk to her, and I would tell her how Marley was doing. I told her the adoption had stopped because she had named Fillmore as the father, and I said, I can't have this little girl ripped out of my arms into a strange people's place when this little girl is emotional already. And Marnie was told that on the phone a number of times. Even Marnie's mother, which is my sister, was told this. My sister was very upset with Marnie for doing that. And she made the comment, if this little girl...
Don't tell me what,
Okay.
what your
Anyway,
sister
the
said.
whole thing boiled down to, after the first 6 months, Marley bonded with us, and everything became much better in the household. Marnie was allowed to see her whenever she wanted.
How
Marnie,
often did she, in fact, come?
Marnie very seldom contacted or called us. Unless Marnie was fighting with one of her boyfriends, then she would call us on the phone and talk to me to come and help her get her out of a situation with one of the boyfriends. Of course, I lived away from her, couldn't do anything about it. So, other than the phone calls, there was nothing I could do. Marnie was always welcome to come see that child.
Miss Hopkins, at what point did you return the child to her mother?
I returned Marley in May of 1996.
Why?
My husband and I had discussed it. My sister told Marley who her real mother was on a visit one weekend. And when she brought her back, she says to me, oh, by the way, I told Marley who her real mother is. I was just devastated. We were waiting to tell her when the time was right.
So she had been with you for 8 years?
For
at that
8
point.
years, and we were waiting to tell her who her real mother was. But my sister brought it upon herself to do it. After that, things started
What's wrong
to
with your
change.
sister?
I love her, but people do their own thing. And
So
so,
what hap-
after that, Marley wanted to be around Marnie because she felt this bond with her. She asked me, Mom, why did Marnie keep Tristano and give me away? I said,
You mean she has another child?
yes,
How old is the other child?
2, I guess.
2?
2.5.
And I said, honey, you'll have to ask Marnie that because I can't answer your question.
When she had come to see or had seen the little girl, how was she introduced to her during these 8 years?
She called Marnie Rui and Rue all the time. And that's what she addressed her as.
Okay.
Until my sister told her who her real mother was. And I told Marley, I said, if you want to call her Mom, that's up to you, Marley.
What had she called you?
She calls me Mom, she calls my husband Dad, and she calls my oldest daughter Sister.
Okay. So what happened to propel the child from your home to their home?
So after that, with Marley being curious and wanting to be around her little brother and be around her real mother, I talked to my husband one evening and I said, what would you do if Marnie asked for Marley to come back to her? He said, well, would that be so bad? He said, would giving Marnie a second chance at being a mother be really bad? He said, she is doing good now, and he said, not a lot of people get a second chance. So the both of us decided that would be okay. We talked to Marnie, and that's how she ended up going back. I called 2 or 3 times a day, upset and checking on the little girl. I did go through a nervous breakdown the whole year of letting her go, wondering if it was the right thing. I do now know that it wasn't the right thing. And Marnie had her 2 months, sent her to her mother, which is my sister. I called and I said, can I talk to Marley? She's outside playing. I called 3 or 4 times, the same answer. Finally, Marnie said, well, she's at my mom's. I thought she was there on a visit. Come to find out, Marnie had sent her there permanently. The little girl is still now with my sister. In the beginning, my sister and I had problems, and I said, the little girl should have been sent back to us, not to you. Why did you guys do this to us? And I literally had a breakdown over it. My husband called Marnie and said, why didn't you guys send this little girl home?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What about the fact that your daughter is my dad's real daughter, Vicky, huh? What about that fact? You're my aunt and my cousin is my sister. What about that one?
Judge Judy. In this bizarre child custody case, Marnie Castillo feels her aunt, Vicky Hopkins, should be responsible for paying back child support for Marnie's daughter.
Why did you
there
send her to your mother's house?
My aunt knew we lived in a very small...
Why did you send her to your
I
mother's
lived
house?
in a studio apartment, my husband, I, and my son. My aunt told me if I didn't take her in May that it wouldn't be a good thing for her to go back. So
You mean because of school?
But there was no room in this house for her. She had her own things, her own bedroom, and we had no room at the time.
Just a second.
We
Miss
were
Castillo, did you tell your aunt when you spoke to her, before your daughter was moved to your house, I can't take her now?
Yes.
Just a second.
I
I
did.
cannot take
It's
her
too
now. I have
small.
no room.
Yes, I did say
Did
that.
you say that to you?
No, ma'am. I would have never, ever...
Oh,
Can I
please,
address
Miss
her?
Castillo.
Can I address
You
her,
are
please?
so full of baloney that
No,
you
I'm
told
not.
this lady who had parented a
This
child
is my
for 8
husband who's
years.
a witness. He was there during the conversation.
Place was
She
too
came
small.
to our house to see how big
This
it was.
action was forced upon Marnie. I asked her, can she wait till we get a bigger place, something. I could foresee the problems happening. The child was used to her own room, bigger things. All we had was this little small apartment. It was very difficult.
So who did you tell that to?
My aunt.
No! You listen to me. Who did you tell that to, sir?
I explained this to my wife.
I'm not interested whether you explained it to your wife. I'm interested in... I don't believe that she told her aunt.
I did.
Oh, I don't believe you,
I
madam.
overheard it on the phone conversation.
I don't believe you. Sit down. I don't believe you. Because I don't believe that this
Ma'am,
lady,
can
who
I
had
address you,
parented a
please?
child... Hey,
Please, can I state something? You know what? I went through a lot of trauma and turmoil over this
you
whole thing.
Hey, you caused a lot of trauma.
I didn't cause anything. My aunt is putting on a melancholy act here. I was the one that was the victim. They only agreed to take her if it was on adoption terms. Yes, I was having problems, but maybe I could have gone I went to drug treatment. They moved away when I was in drug treatment. I had no clue where they were. I was trying to get my life together, and they moved away. I didn't get in contact with the little girl again until she was 3 years old. I had no Christmas visitations with her, no holidays, nothing. My aunt's leading you to believe that she's the victim. She was never the victim in this. I and my little girl both were a victim. I was 18 years old, didn't know what I was doing. I asked them for help. They were like my parents to me.
May I see the bill, please, for the
bill
state
is
says
right
that
here,
you
and
owe
all
them?
the adoption paper stuff is
Can
here,
I
ma'am.
see what the bill is that the state says that you owe them?
I'm sorry to get angry, but this hurts me. I've gone through a lot with this, and my aunt didn't go through anything
Past due.
except last year,
Past due.
the nervous breakdown, if she even did.
4530.
She
Miss
constantly
Castillo,
called.
Miss Castillo, it's too bad that you have 2 children. Not 1, but 2.
I do have
Because
2.
when it's too bad you have any. Because when you call yourself a victim, when you call yourself a victim, the only victim in this case...
It's the little girl.
That's right. You caused it. Your irresponsibility caused it. Your drug problem caused it. Your drug rehabilitation caused it. These people didn't need an additional responsibility. They took on that responsibility because of a problem, a mess you created. You compounded it. You compounded it by naming someone as the father of this child who precluded them, without a great deal of hassle, from going through with an adoption. At some point, your mother told this little girl at age 8 and a half
That has nothing to do with me.
told her that she was not her mother, that you were the mother. That's very confusing. I don't know where your sister went to psychiatry school, but she probably got it in some thing where you read behind it in a magazine, because she's not a very intelligent woman, clearly not an intelligent woman. Ultimately, the only one who suffered emotionally, who's an innocent, is your daughter. Next in line are these people, and way down the pike are you.
Judge Judy will continue.
Did you guys hear her say the little girl instead of even calling this child by her name? Because, the resentment is loud. And everything seems to be happening to her. She's the victim. Everybody else is responsible. And accountability is nowhere to be found. Ma'am, at some point, you have to take responsibility. If the court says you owe child support, then pay the child support. That is your child, not your aunt's bill. You can't keep passing the responsibility around because life didn't go the way you wanted.
This case has to do with money. And the only issue is whether I'm going to tell this lady that she's got to pay $4,300, or I'm going to tell you that you got to pay $4,300, which is the amount that was paid as enforced support by the state over an 8-year period. 8 years. So I guarantee you that this lady and her husband paid a lot more to raise this child for 8 years than $4,300. Guaranteed. Because if you figure that out on a weekly basis, you pay more to take care of a goldfish. That is the difference that the state had to pick up. You, madam, this is your problem. You're responsible for this money. You pay it. Case dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I hate you, you know that?
This yours? Out the back door to your right.
Hate you.
Judge Judy will continue in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I was an absent parent. I thought they adopted her. I agreed upon all their terms to only visit when they said.
That's not true.
That
I
is
called
true.
her right after I got the papers that
No,
Fillmore
you did
was
not
her
call
father.
me. I was in a drug
and told
treatment.
her
Didn't know where you were, lady.
that
Didn't know
she
where you
just
were.
stopped the case because it would have to go through the tribe.
What about the fact that your daughter is my dad's real daughter, Vicky, huh? What about that fact? You're my aunt and my cousin is my sister. What about that one? You don't want to bring the dirty laundry on this air? Your daughter is my sister, which is my cousin.
Whew, this woman was really testing my patience. The way she kept trying to shift the responsibility onto everybody else was something else. At some point, you have to stop pointing fingers and take accountability for your own decisions. You cannot expect somebody else to clean up the consequences of choices that you made. And honestly, I'm glad the judge didn't fall for it and ordered against her. If the child support is your responsibility, then it's your responsibility, period. You can't just hand the bill to your aunt because she once said she would adopt the child. A promise is not an adoption, and an aunt is not automatically responsible for your child's support. In the end, the biggest person who matters here is that little girl. She shouldn't have to become the pawn in an adult family dispute. Hopefully, everybody involved can put their personal issues aside and do what is actually best for the child. And that's where I'm going to leave this one. But I want to know what you think. Was the judge right to rule against her? Or do you think the aunt should have had some responsibility? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you don't miss the next courtroom drama. I'll see you in the next one.